Hey guys, happy Monday. I've got for today's video. I've got two games to share with you, and I think there's a lot of value in this of going through games that have been submitted by not roosters but chess.com friends or buddies, and so we've got two today. So what's really interesting about this is that I'm going through it blind, right? I haven't seen these games. All I know, obviously, who's playing and what their ratings are, but what it allows us to do together is to compare the move selection that was made by the player knowing their rating, and then to compare that with what move you would make or what move I would make. So obviously I don't know what your rating is. You might be higher rated than me, you might be lower rated, in between, here and there, but it's very, very useful, I think, to be able to get a measure of, well, what's the difference between a 600 and 800, or an 800 and a 1000, or 1000 and 1200, do you know what I mean? In the way that they think, because each of us, we're always trying to get to that next 100 kind of rating level, yeah? So the way to do that is to say, well, what is it that isn't in my thought process? What is it that I am blind to, that people 100 points higher rated are cognizant of? It's part of their checklist, it's part of their thought process. Okay, so that's where I think these blind games really come in useful. So let's dive into game number one. So this was submitted by my buddy the Monty 90 for Scotland, I think, by the look of the flag. Aye. Right. So he's rated 657. This is a blitz game. This is a 5-minute game. Opponent's rated Tazari K. Jacob, rated 602. Okay, so we have E4 from Monty. E5. Where are we going to go? We're going to go King's Pawn opening standard. Okay, so now could go anyway, and we go Italian. Italian style. Now this is the anti-fried liver. So black here is going, I'm scared of the knight coming into here, which is kind of, it's understandable. But you don't have to play that move, because, if the knight comes in, you do have d5. Okay, and if the pawn takes, then the fried liver's no longer on and stuff like that. But, it's an approach. Okay, now d3, this makes sense. We've already got our light square bishop out into the board, and moving the d-pawn prepares for allows the dark square bishop to come out, but it only really has a couple of squares, because these two are covered by pawns. Another option here as well is to play c3 with the idea of d4 straight away, and to challenge for the center, because if takes, you take, and then you get the big center, yeah? That's another idea. Okay, knight to f6, normal development, knight to c3, normal development, and we have a fairly symmetrical position here. So it's black's just moved, white to move their d-pawn, black to move their h-pawn. Okay. Now, this h-pawn may become a target later on. So white's question now is, okay, well, how do I get my bishop out, and which side am I going to castle? Black still has two pieces on the queen side, as does white, which means that kingside castling is going to be the quick option for both players. Another option here, of course, is to do this kind of London move, or anti-London move, with the bishop in front of the king, and trying to trade off. I mean, in the London, it's actually in front of the queen, because in the London you have your the point of the pyramid is in front of the queen, I think. So, but you can go for this idea, prompting the trade, and then if takes, f takes. Okay, then what you probably want to do is get queen and rook on there and castle the king this away. So that's an idea. Boom, Monty did it. Nice job, Monty. Takes, beautiful. I didn't even look at the moves there. Monty did what I probably would have done there. So yeah, we're opening up the F file. Freddie's freaky F file. Okay, so, and actually white has options here. You could go Vienna Gambit style. Yeah, or Gangnam style, and get the rook straight on F on the semi-open F file. That's dangerous stuff. I love it. The other thing, of course, that white has in his advantage now is that because he's just captured inwards with a pawn, that means that he almost has a spare d pawn. Yeah. So if he pushes now and takes, look, he's got 2 pawns in the centre to black's 1 pawn in the centre, right? And he's really controlling this whole centre. So this is nice. Also consider that players have taken like 10 seconds so far. So if the clock is correct. Okay, so now black castles kingside with this ever so slight disadvantage here. Having said that, the dark square bishops have come off, so there's no real chance of like a bishop sack on h6. However, you know, if Gary and Harry join the game, I don't know. We shall see. We shall see if that. Haha! Nice one, Monty, mate. Nice one, my son. He's doing exactly what I said, you know, attacking in the centre. However, you know, it might be advisable to get the king to safety before you open up the centre, right? Black's just got his king to safety. You know, you don't want this to come back and bite you on the arse. Okay, so we have takes and takes. And this pawn is double defended, got knight and queen. This pawn is defended by the knight. No worries here. So the imbalance is black has got his king kind of safe. Although, you know, are there going to be weaknesses on the light squares? We shall see. On the flip side, white has better development, having 3 pieces out in the middle of the board and control of the centre. So, who would you rather be? Okay, we have now rook to e4, sorry, rook e8, attacking e4. So, I mean, the obvious move here would be there. It's not attacking the knight because the pawn would actually be pinned on there. And if takes, pawn takes. Fairly straightforward. But you can see now why maybe thinking about castling the king slightly sooner might have made sense. But, okay, so we go straight away and we castle here. But there are 2 attackers on that pawn. And only 1 defender. Yeah? So I would expect, yeah, there we go, knight takes. So we've given up a pawn. However, it has to be said that black has just now moved a developed piece a second time. And this bishop is still not in the game and isn't going to enter the game anytime soon, neither is his rook. So I don't know. Maybe Monty saw the hanging pawn and decided to go for the initiative rather and give up the pawn. We shall see. Okay, rook e1. It's not really pinning the knight because rook takes, queen takes. It's okay, but we are we're putting a second attacker on the knight, so it's creating an issue for black that black needs to address. And we have knight takes c3. Trade of rooks and then recapture the knight. Okay, so this isn't too bad right now, you know. Yes, it looks as though white's ended up with an extra pawn island, which he has, you know, he's got 3 pawn islands now. However, he's got a nice wide open board, you know, he's got a pretty good light squared bishop here, could end up dropping back to there, and he has this initiative, you know, because we've got 2 of black's pieces still in the box. Now, how do we finish from here? So if you're white now, you want to be thinking about, well, how am I going to attack? And how am I going to attack quickly before black can engage these extra bits, okay? So ideas would be things like get the bishop onto this file and try and get the queen into h7 is a thought. Yeah, queen here. You want to be thinking about where am I going to put this knight. Knight can go on a dark square there, but then, ooh, this pawn, it has to be said, is pinned. That could be useful. But let's see how the game pans out. So we have a check. This is interesting. This is a fork on king and c3 pawn. Interesting. Well spotted from black. King h1 takes the pawn. Now, this is defended by the queen. This is defended by the knight. Again, I think my first thought here would be maybe bishop d3. We have bishop b3, maintaining the pin on this pawn, right? Okay. Also, adding defenders to both of these, and the bishop is now double defended also. maybe thinking about this idea as well. We shall see. Okay, so we push d6. Now the knight comes around. Now the knight's put himself on a dark square, which means that this bishop is unable to see the knight. However, you know, with this move, d6, now the bishop can enter the game. And black is actually up 2 pawns here. So what white needs to be thinking about is attack, attack, attack. So first thought, queen f1, come after this, right? I want to force some pawn moves around here. This pawn's pinned, can't move. So something like queen here, I would expect this or this to defend the pawn. Okay, we've lost another pawn. We're down 3 pawns now. Okay, rook b1. Well, I guess it's just getting it out of line of fire of the queen so that this queen can move. Now knight takes bishop. Makes sense. You're up 3 points in material. Rook takes, attacking the queen. That's dynamic. I like this move. I like this move because that permits maybe rook g3 and a barrage against g7. And it also comes with tempo. It means that now on black's next turn, this queen has to go and do something, right? Which means this bishop can't come out, which means this rook can't come out. But definitely dangerous times for white here. Okay, queen moves to there. Knight back. Why? So he's come... Okay, well, queen's attacking the knight. Fair enough. Okay. So yeah, knight has to come back. Yeah, I get it. But it is a kind of a backwards move. So this is very much all in the balance, this, you know? Maybe this? Attack the queen, skewer the bishop? We shall see. Okay, hit the bishop. Takes. Now, pawn or rook? Rook. Okay, nice. Queen is defending the f-pawn, has to be said. But... look at the pawn situation. 3 against 2, right? And 4 against 2 on the queen side. And now the rook enters the game. And now the queen comes across, eyeing up the very long diagonal. So are we going to see rook g3? Queen takes pawn. a3. Okay. Queen d2. Don't know. Is black thinking about this? We've got this, defends the pawn and threatens mate on there as well. King h2. I don't know if that's necessary, that move. I'd have played this straight away with the threat of mate. You know, put the ball back in black's court. This wasn't, I mean, look, if... oh! Right. No, you're absolutely right. My mistake. Yeah. Rook e1 would have been a fork on queen and would have forced queen to take, queen takes, and it's losing. So yes, you are quite right. There, takes. Queen b1. So now we're a pawn down on the king side and 3 pawns down on the queen side. This is looking desperate. b6 defends the pawn, comes to here. Queen takes the other pawn. We are hemorrhaging pawns. What on earth? How are you going to do this? Queen here. g4 just opens up another diagonal towards the king to get checked on, but I guess, what are we trying to do? Trying to checkmate in the corner or what? h4, damn. Oh, this is getting hairy now. Now, is there a forced win here? Queen there, king here. Check, takes, defended by the queen, checkmate. Okay, we have this first. Okay, yeah. So now black's got to take, because otherwise queen here is mate, yeah? So black's got to take. Now here, and now queen b1 is, pawn b1 equals queen is too late. Because this is going to be mate. Can't draw today. Oh, that's going to be mate, right? Queen. Well, that's no good. No. Right, what black has to do here is give check. Keep giving check until the queen can eliminate this pawn. I think black's completely blown this situation. That's checkmate. Yeah, black's completely blown this. Because from here, let's say queen there, right? And the king has to go to one of these squares. If the king can't go here, because then queen, get a queen on there. So let's say king goes here, check, right? It's come with check again. And this is absolutely, totally winning, because whatever this king does now, boom. So Monty, you flew close to the wind there, my son, and you were very lucky that your opponent, there must have been an increment on this, because now everyone's at 459, right? Must have been an increment. But yeah, you were very lucky there to get a very, very cheeky checkmate in the end, because black actually had the better of you for much of the game. And I mean, look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pawns against 1. And this pawn, this solitary H pawn, as was, got the win. So, interesting one. Flying by the seat of your pants there, mate. Okay, next game. This is from Christina, who's now up to 1443. A real talent, awesome at attacking. So Christina's 1443, her opponent is 1453. So we're going to see a different level now. It's just more than double the rating range for the 600s. But this is a rapid game. So we have the French. D4, strike for the centre, okay. And the French advanced variation. It's stopping the knight coming out straight away here. The knight can come here. And another idea is the f6 break later on for black. Knight out and c4. That's kind of aggressive. I've never really seen that very much in the French, having played the French quite a lot. If this pawn takes, then black's going to have 2 attackers on that pawn as well. Interesting. So now what are you going to do? Take in the middle, yeah. Yeah. If in doubt, always good to capture towards the centre. Okay, and takes. And now black has no e-pawn in front of the king. So an aggressive position. Knight c3 attacks this undefended pawn. Bishop pins the knight. Bishop breaks the pin. Takes, takes. Could have considered as well b takes there, because this bishop has now become a tall pawn, joining in with the pawn chain. Okay, queen to here. Second attacker on this is defended twice, has to be said. All right, 2 attackers, 2 defenders. So I'm thinking knight f3. Yeah, knight f3 hits the queen, adds a 3rd attacker to this pawn. So that, to me, was what Simon Williams would call an artificial move, an artificial attack. It wasn't any kind of threat, and it, in fact, invites white to improve her position. So, queen comes all the way back, and white's just been able to. So basically, the queen's done this and given white a free move. Now bishop comes out, hitting the knight, getting ready to castle. Black castles long. Now that's interesting, because one thing you notice about this board is there's no white c-pawn. Okay, because Christina captured with the bishop here rather than the b-pawn. Now the king has plunked himself on the c-file, and he's asking for a rook on c1, in my opinion. Now, bishop takes knight. That's an interesting move. Yeah, it's a good knight. Knight's attacking this twice. This bishop is not so great with that pawn stuck on the light square here. Maybe Christina's argument is that this bishop also is not so great. So she's trading off her light squared bishop for a good knight. So maybe. And castles, yes. f6, striking in the centre. For me, I would ignore that threat. I think the pawn takes, knight takes is nice. You've got the knight looking at this fork, you've got knight looking at the bishop, centralised knight, what's not to like? So maybe rook c1 now. Okay, Oh, that's interesting. Rook e1. And that would then come with lots of threats, wouldn't it? You know? If pawn takes, knight takes, then we've got a potential discovered attack on the queen and all kinds of evil. Okay, so the queen gets out the way. e6. I'd be very tempted to play e6. e6! Getting! Hitting the queen again. Spank! Spank the queen. And now, okay, e7, that's understandable, but this is a queen now whose main job is blocking a pawn. Right? So if this queen's going to be stuck there with this babysitting a pawn, that's taking a lot of firepower away from black. Okay, now b4. This all makes sense. We've got opposite side castling situation. We want to go and attack your opponent's king. Okay, and black is doing likewise, which makes sense. Rook b1. Okay, so the idea is maybe to support b5, and then the bishop only has one square to go back to. Attack the knight. What do we do? Do we ignore it? Knight there is okay. I mean, there's no kind of recapture on here anymore, so the knight's kind of free to move. This is an idea. It's kind of slow though. I don't know about here. So what do we do? Okay, so Christina goes to the right. Okay, guess idea of coming here and hitting the queen one more time. There's a song in there somewhere. f5. To me that just says, here's a free pawn, take it. Yeah, that's got to be a mistake. Got to be a mistake. Black is crumbling. And this pawn on e6 is looking very dangerous. Okay, so the queen's under attack, queen has to move. And now the pawn can advance, yeah? Pawn can advance, defended by knight and rook. It's attacked twice. If pawn advances, knight takes, knight takes. No, queen can't recapture, because then rook takes queen. And what we're threatening is this. So if pawn advances, is the rook going to have to move there, or the bishop? No, the rook's going to have to move there. But we don't even do that. Oh! Nice move, Christina. Look, putting the queen on the diagonal with this king here. Right, threatening this. If knight moves anywhere, comes a discovered check. Oh, yeah. That was definitely a great move to find. Okay, now knight comes here. Okay, we are blocking the advance of the pawn. What would I do? Knight e7 is, knight takes e7 is the first thought. Is there anything better? Pushing the bishop back here? Does that help in any way? Don't know. But this pawn is really a bone in the throat, isn't it? So, okay, so knight takes, queen takes. Okay. Now this bishop's looking a bit awkward still. Because these pawns are blocked off. So I'd want to be getting this bishop involved in the game. Maybe something like this. You know, looking at here. That's a thought. Okay, but we have now the b5 move, which we were anticipating. That forces bishop e8. Yeah. And now bishop attacks queen. Nice. Okay, so we've resolved the bishop problem there. Yeah. By getting this pawn off the dark square. Forced move, and now attacking the queen. So we are starting to scissor in now on the king's position. And look at this c-file now. There's only one little pawn on it. What is the queen? The queen's trapped. Damn, can't go there. Yeah, pawn's got these. Queen goes here, queen takes, no good. Can't go there because bishop takes. Wow! Great attack. Wins the exchange. Boom. Batter. And pawn takes. Pawn takes? Not queen takes? Pawn takes? a4. I guess if queen takes, this pawn just creeps up one more time with discovered check. Oh my goodness me. And king can't move here. Discover check, bishop here. Oh, I don't know. That would take some calculation. Then you've got pawn promotes, rook takes, oh, check. Oh, it's a world of pain. Okay, so pawn takes. Now a4. That's just spite. That's just like, I'm going to hit your queen. Queen's like, is my face bothered? Am I even bothered? I'm coming up this way. I'm going to attack your king. Also, I would have also maybe suggested that throwing in a check now would have been, you know, interesting. Force the king to move. King can't go there. King would have had to have gone to one side. Bishop can't block. Yeah, king's got to move. Remember, this pawn is undefended as well. But we have queen d1. What? Don't know what Harry's doing. Okay, queen c2. With a threat, so the king is going to have to move to one side. And now what's the idea? Just stick a rook behind her? No? b6! Threatening this. No, that would just be a trade of queens, and black wins a pawn back. King in the corner. Checkmate. There you go. Beautiful, beautiful attacking game. Total, you know, that's what you pay for when you subscribe to watching Christina's games. Big, big attacking games. So here, I think, yeah, maybe the king shouldn't have moved. I would argue that something like, I don't know, you would kind of want to move this bishop somewhere. Maybe even this bishop here, taking advantage of that. But even here, you see, you've got queen takes, pawn takes, king takes, we survive. And be down 3 points in material, which is basically an exchange-ish. Yeah. Oh, interesting game though. So, you know, I think both pretty good games. Nice attacking games, both with, you know, really interesting checkmates. You can see the difference in kind of quality of thinking. There's not so much, you know, pieces being left hanging and capturing undefended pieces in the second game as there was in the first. But all jolly good fun. Thank you for sharing. Please let me know in the comments if you like these blind games, if this works for you. To hear kind of my commentary, what I would play, what I see on the board compared to the games that were actually played. If you like it, please let me know. If you think it sucks, please let me know. You know, I'm here to try and help you improve your chess. It's as simple as that. That's all I want to do. So, you know, let me know how best to help you on that journey. So, thanks for watching, everybody. See you later.